2020. As I'm filming this, it is the eve of the new year. It's New Year's Eve, and I am so excited to film this video. As soon as I start to film, my cats begin to make noise. Can you believe it? I used to make these videos every single year, and more importantly, I used to do what I'm about to share with you every single year up until these last 2 years of my life, and I could list a million excuses as to why I stopped. Primarily, I think it's because I thought whatever was right in front of me at the time, like a relationship or friendships, was deemed more important than self-care and reflection, which came with a price. Ultimately, I think it's always important to make time for self-care and self-reflection like this, which is why I'm starting to include it back into my everyday life, as you could tell. Tonight is New Year's Eve. I am almost completely ready to go. I'm heading to my friend Hadley's apartment, and we're gonna have a little shindig, just like the good old days, and ring in the new year right. I'm in my New Year's Eve outfit, almost. I still have to put on a belt and heels and maybe a little bit of makeup. I'm not sure yet. Fix my hair a little bit more, but for the most part, I'm ready to go, and I am ready to celebrate and just enjoy life in the moment. That being said, what I used to do every single year on New Year's Eve is I would take time, probably about 30 to 45 minutes, to meditate and just kind of reassess the year. And in this case, I was reassessing the entire decade, reflecting on the year, breathing in the good and exhaling out, you know, the negative, the bad, the toxic, the hurt, anything that I don't want to remember. And then through this, manifesting what I want to carry on into the new year, you know, starting to meditate and manifest what's to come, what I hope will happen, any goals, ambitions, dreams, aspirations that I have that I hope to achieve this next year. After I finish meditating, I like to write a letter to the universe. Now, if you are an ultimate OG, and if anyone is watching that used to watch my content way back when I started, number one, I love you. Number two, comment down below if this is you, because I'm super curious if anyone is still with me from these glory days. I would share what I write with you on my vlog channel. A letter to the universe. 2015, 2016, 2019. Here we are, and I am going to share with you what I wrote. I think this exercise is so important. I think it is so beneficial. I highly recommend it. I can't take credit for it completely because I got the idea from Christina Perri on her Tumblr back in like 2009. Can you believe it? Like Tumblr days. And Christina Perri would write a letter to the universe every single New Year's Eve, upload it to her Tumblr, and basically she would thank the universe for the last year of her life, do a little bit of self-reflecting, and then tell the universe what she wants for the following year, kind of like goals and aspirations. And something that really stuck with me is the fact that, you know, she would make all these lists of things that she wanted to accomplish, and somehow every single year, every single one of them would come true. This is the first experience that I have with learning about manifestation, and I really, really loved it. I felt very connected to what she was writing, and so I took what she was doing and I started doing it myself, and writing letters to the universe every single New Year's Eve to say thank you and to hope for a good following year. So tonight, I meditated, I wrote my letter, and I want to share it with you. Before I get started, definitely give this video a thumbs up and comment down below what you're doing this year for New Year's Eve. Hey, some years all I did was watch a movie or go to bed by myself, so no hate in that. Honestly, one of these upcoming years I need to have a really relaxing night like that. So if you're staying home watching a movie by yourself or going out to a rager, let me know what your plans are. I'd love to hear them. And subscribe. I know that a big percentage of my viewers are not subscribed to my channel for some weird reason, so if you are not subscribed, please subscribe. It'd mean the world. Also, I shout out the first comment on my social media, so be sure to be following me on Instagram and Snapchat and all that as well. One last thing, I am vlogging my New Year's Eve this entire day, and right now you're only seeing a snippet of it, but make sure you are subscribed because in a few weeks that vlog will go up and you can kind of see everything else that went into today and tonight and what my plans look like. I'll be vlogging the party this evening, so definitely subscribe so you don't miss that vlog. This update cannot wait. I just painted my nails. Look at how festive they are. Isn't it perfect for New Year's Eve? It's like glittery and pink and subtle but gold. Yeah, I'm ready. I have to get back into the calm manifesting writing energy that I was recently in. It's nothing like amazing. This is just like my subconsciousness, free writing, reflecting, journal entry, but I want to share it because I find these to be super, super inspirational, and maybe it'll inspire you to write your own, or maybe you're just curious to hear more about my year and my hopes and dreams. I am going to be uploading a 2020 goals and resolution video very, very soon, so I won't get too in-depth with what my plans are for this year because that video will go up shortly as well. So if you want to know more about my my aspirations and resolutions, then subscribe because you'll see that soon. I don't really know how else to start this besides just like diving on in. I have my laptop in front of me. For some reason now I'm like really self-conscious, but no pressure. This is just my subconscious writing. It's nothing perfect. It's just my thoughts this evening. So I hope you listen. December 31st, 2019. The end of a decade, but the start of an age. Long live. Oh God, I'm already cringing. I'm sorry if you don't like Taylor Swift. When I think back on this last year of my life, most memories are good. The post-grad freedom to explore my preferences of life, the romantic road trip down to Chicago to stare at fireworks above water and buildings above clouds, the turn of a new age, and the disguised blessing of losing the first job I loved more than any job before. In fact, there isn't much that I look back on that doesn't qualify as a happy memory, for even the bad, in some way, has blessed me as good. I used to write a letter to the universe on the eve of every new year. I manifested thoughts from meditation turned to pages from the fast shuffle of my keyboard, an idea given to me by Christina Perry's Tumblr years ago. I still remember her entry about her list of resolutions, ranging from having a song on a movie soundtrack to quitting smoking, and somehow the universe granted her both. Ever since seeing that, I believe anything can happen, and it came to me at a time when I was truly discouraged by the world. When I spent years praying to a God I was upset at for taking away a sister I wanted so badly, to not listening when I begged for him to heal her, when I wore a silly necklace donated to us from the Make-A-Wish Foundation, stamped with the saying, "Miracles happen," and I tied it around my neck and told everyone I'll never take it off, and when it falls off by itself, a miracle will happen. I don't remember how or when I finally took it off, but it was during this time I turned to Tumblr. I turned to Arms by Christina Perry. I turned to her writing, her letters, and ultimately the universe. I would write every year since 2014, thanking and hoping and feeling refreshed and ready to conquer a new year. Well, I don't believe I wrote one last year. I don't think I wrote a letter the year before either, as I remember racing home from work just to rush over to Brendan's place. Last year I didn't work, but why didn't I write either? I was going to Chelsea's with my best work friends, all of whom are still just as close and coming over this Friday for a wine night. But maybe that's my fault. Maybe my potential hasn't been reached yet because I haven't been keeping up with meditating on every New Year's Eve and ending and writing a letter to the higher power. Maybe this is the step back to who I used to be when I still believed in the good and the unknown. It's time to return to my roots, not just for 2019, not just for 2020, but for the next 10, the decade following tonight that will lead me into a new chapter of my life. The one where I get married, the one where I start a family, buy a home, write a book, see the world, the one where I look back and wonder how I had no idea what was about to happen. So this is it. This is the start. This is the letter to the universe I never wrote. But in 2020, we start again. Dear universe, I am sorry it's been a while. That's never an excuse. But I've been listening again lately. I've been watching the lunar transitions and talking to the moon as I drive home at night. I've been clutching to the geodes with galaxies in my palms and praying for the refuge we all seek, hope. Tonight, it's the end of a decade. One that graced me with close to half of my life full of memories. I literally grew up these last 10 years, graduating high school, graduating college, receiving 4 publications, moving out and onto my first apartment, losing my first cat and adopting my first on my own, falling in love for the first time after years of believing no one ever would, and to follow, falling out of love. You taught me life is both the longest and shortest thing I'll ever experience. The power of breath can cure pain, and no matter what, Mom is always right. I've also learned people ebb and flow out of your life like waves, but never lose the love of the ocean. I am eternally grateful for everything and everyone these last 10 years, even the ones who hurt me, because it taught me what I value in a friend. 2019 brought joy. It brought freedom and peace and simply being alive. I fell in love with being on my own, living alone, and seizing the day by myself. I am not afraid to go out to eat, see a movie, go shopping, or truly anything on my own because I've learned to really love who I am and treat her with kindness. To a year that I truly thought would be a selfish one that I swore boys off for, single for a year, I told myself. I'm still grateful it turned out completely different than first imagined a year ago. Some of my greatest memories of 2019 involve him. Chicago, Wisconsin, heck, even just going to the grocery store. It was nice. In 2019, you brought my newest cat Marnie into my life, who currently sits and cleans herself at the top of the cat tower, overlooking the busy street, growing darker and darker by the minute as this eve of the last decade sets. In 2019, I finally saw Dear Evan Hansen on Broadway after weeks and weeks of belting out the soundtrack after a breakup, for it was the only thing that stopped the crying. I turned 24, bought a new car, paid off my first of many to come student loans, and even took the ballsiest jump into the unknown, quitting my job to pursue the ups and downs of a self-employed content creator lifestyle. It hasn't been easy, but I love being in control of my day. I love being able to put all of my creative energy towards a project, staying awake until 3 a.m. cutting yellow circles for my lunar calendar when just a year ago, I wouldn't have been able to do that. I understand why I lost the only job I ever loved, and I understand now why it was so difficult to find another one, why I wasn't accepted to transfer locations, why it felt sometimes as if people were shaking my shoulders telling me to let this job go, that it wasn't as great as I'm highlighting, that I'm forgetting the bad, the disgusting management, the lack of proper HR, the drama, rose-colored glasses, my favorite. But I never would be where I am now if I didn't lose that job. As much as it shook my world, as much as I cried over losing what felt like home, what reminded me of high school in the best ways possible, what never truly felt like a job at all, I never would be where I am now, pushed and pursuing this crazy concept that I can create and people will listen. People will listen. The closest people in my life I met in 2018, but they carried over through 2019 and into the new decade, and for that I am thankful. When we lost our jobs, Laura sent a text that still sends shivers through my skin, but wraps me whole at the same time. Just because us hawks are flying to new nests doesn't mean we're not family. And I remember that. I look for them everywhere I go. Customers, guests, employees, passerbys. Maybe I'll run into someone who was once family, and I'll remember that. I try really hard to make life memorable, to do things just enough that when I look back I can be like, oh yeah, we did that year. That was fun. Because there were years where I looked back and thought of nothing. When I didn't carve pumpkins or dye Easter eggs because I didn't see the point, then looked back and realized I did nothing. But it's the things that may not feel important or ginormous in the moment that later on will be the things you miss the most. And for that, I try to lead a life worth remembering now. So this year, I bought my mother flowers on Mother's Day, as I wore slippers through Trader Joe's in the process simply because I wanted to. I went to a baseball game and stayed until the fireworks. I spent days at the pool with friends I really should have done a better job at keeping up with. And I studied the lines of bristles on paintings by local artists at the Uptown Art Fair, hours before hiding on a patio during the worst torrential downpour I have ever lived through. I climbed a waterfall with my boyfriend, calves wet in freezing water and ruined shoes, but throwing them away was worth the memory of climbing Earth's cavities with the one I loved. We treated that small town we stayed in as if it were the Hamptons, and my favorite memory was the warmth of the bubbling hot tub on that summer night, sipping sparkling juice through Twizzler straws, talking about the horrible fate of our forgotten childhood pets that unfortunately had their lives cut short by our childish actions. I said yes when a photographer I had never met reached out hoping to shoot, and I still have amazing pictures to remember it by. I started bullet journaling even though years ago I thought it was stupid, because that waste of time is what gives me a purpose every day now. And even though I am absolutely terrified, I said yes to a haunted house and hayride because I knew looking back I would, 1, survive, and 2, be happy I said yes and live to tell the tale. The tale of abandoning my boyfriend for whoever was the fastest in the group and cling to Myron until we made it out. But it's those small moments that remain embedded in my mind as, oh yeah, that was 2019. That was fall. That was a perfect summer day. And although it felt like nothing, although I quit my job and feared how to pay rent unemployed, I somehow made it more than I had ever before and continued to strive to be better because I had and hold on to hope. On the night of 11/11, I watched the supermoon hued in pinks and purples and blues on the entire drive home, and I felt safe. I saw a finish line, an outlet, a God, and realized I would be okay. Life moves in funny circles sometimes. Funny how tonight is simply just another night, but because of our human concepts and trivial illusions, it is also the end of something in my mind and the start of a completely new beginning. Funny how it's just a Tuesday night, but an enormous ball is about to drop and will scream that it's a new year, a new decade, new hopes and dreams sparked in the night sky. And I'm all for it. So here are mine. I hope that 2020 provides clarity. I mean, it's in the name, right? 2020 and 2020. I hope that I can see the path a tad bit paved that I walk upon, steps closer to the sense of self and purpose I crave. I hope I can reach or unlock a new level of potential I have within me. I hope I can see more of the world around me. I want to go back to the ocean. I want to take a solo trip and feel my heart beat. I want to read every book that still remains in a pile on my bedroom floor that I have yet to read, and cross off every video left in my journal I have yet to make. In 2020, I hope YouTube continues to grow and gain stability and efficiency in my life. The goal by 2020 was 20,000 subscribers, and we are so close. But I'm realizing I can't make a subscriber count a realistic goal for any year because it's completely out of my own control as the creator. That, my friends, is up to you guys. But I can hope for growth and more stability in my channel. I can make a goal that my video reaches you and the ripple effect will take place. I have hopes of the 2 new tattoos always on my mind will hopefully always be on my skin very soon, and that the 1 room left in my apartment that I want to complete will be finished. Besides that, I simply want to live. I just want to continue forward with every step, slowly closing the door in my past more and more with every step. Sometimes it's still hard for me to do the most mundane of things because of the memories too shallow on the surface to forget. The only cure is time, and I hope that that finds me in 2020. I hope my fears dissipate. I have reached a point in my life where instead of remembering the hurt and the pain and the moments where I thought I was happy, where I thought this is it, instead of remembering, all I want to do is forget. I think I am finally moving on. Tonight, I'll ring in the new decade, surrounded by both old and new friends, as Hadley hosts New Year's Eve for the first time in her first apartment. We say it will be like old times because for as long as I can remember, as we were still stretching into the people we are today, she and I would always celebrate the new year together. And now, here we are again. Before I ever even fell in love or had someone to share that special midnight moment with, it was her. And we joked that we can kiss again this year, despite both being in flourishing relationships. And I say new friends because of who I may meet tonight, as well as them all meeting Tyler, my boyfriend, for the first time. This is 20s. This is my 20s. Boyfriends meeting boyfriends in first apartments and flutes of champagne and card games. But it is also the 20s of the roaring decade to come. And all I can say is bring it. So there you have it. 2019 and 2020, both incredibly close and far away from each other. And to the universe, who has always been there for me, always listened and responded, always watched over in every way possible, thank you. For the past, for yesterday, for my first and hardest breakup, for the love stories that have become ghost stories, for the love felt in every different language love can translate, and every accomplishment, big and small, I smiled over. Thank you for this year, this decade, and the chance to find myself amongst it all. I am eager and I am ready for the next. Love, your piece of stardust and sky, Makayla. Wow, just reading that out loud for the first time after writing it, it makes me feel so much stronger and like ready for tomorrow and the future and what's to come. So thank you for listening. I hope this inspired you to write your own letter to the universe. I think it can be really helpful just to ground yourself, even if you don't believe in all of this stuff. I mean, honestly, I'm not the biggest on resolutions as much as I used to be, but I still think it's really important to reflect and manifest. I'm going to leave all the letters to the universe that I wrote from years past. It's crazy to think that the first one I ever uploaded was still in my teenage bedroom before I redid it during college. Like, I was literally a child. And every single letter really does just like capture what I was going through that year and what I hoped for the next. And it's crazy to think that like the first one I ever uploaded was still in my strawberry pink and lime green teenage bedroom. Like, look at how far we've come. Look at where I'm sitting. Like, I'm in my own apartment sharing with you this year's letter to the universe. That's crazy to me. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a wonderful New Year's, and I will see you sooner than you think with an exciting video. Bye.